Academics were at the heart of the investigation leading to Chancellor Thorpe's resignation. Indications tonight is that there are more concerns, but not with football. A recent study suggests the graduation rates of African-American men at UNC are lagging. They're taking longer to get their diplomas, if they graduate at all. Nick Johnson has been at UNC for 4 years. He changed his major from biology to photojournalism after 2 years. So he'll be on campus for one more, a fifth-year senior.
I was pretty much miserable for the first 2 years.
He joins a large group. According to the university's Office of Undergraduate Institutional Research, less than half of African-American males will graduate within 4 years. 13% take 5 or 6 years to complete their degree, and 22% of African-American men never graduate. Director of Diversity Education and Research, Dr. Melva Newsom, says reasons for these low rates start in grade school.
They're frequently not encouraged to be academically excellent. They're encouraged to be athletically excellent.
That emphasis on athletic excellence may be one factor, but it's not the only one. Some argue that mentorship and strong relationships with faculty aren't a big enough part of the undergraduate experience for African-American men.
Because our faculty is predominantly white, a lot of our black males don't want to act like they're not supposed to be here.
Johnson says a mentor could have helped him stay on track.
I wasn't quite sure who to talk to.
There are numerous resources available at UNC, but Jasmine Perez, Multicultural Affairs Program Director, says many of those resources focus on helping first-year and transfer students.
We haven't had enough success in reaching those juniors and seniors that we need to round out their experiences.
And although it's too late for Johnson to graduate on time, he says he's excited to finish out his 5th year strong.
It seems to happen all the time. The university in court fighting demands for what the news media call public records. There have been all kinds of cases. I'm Alex Giles.
And I'm Landon Dowdy. Remember the one where the university claimed it could withhold records of parking tickets? Critics are calling that case and others part of a culture of stonewalling. Averi Harper reports.
Editor-in-chief of the Daily Tar Heel, Andy Thomason, and his staff finally settled with the university after a 2-year legal battle for access to documents he says were critical to the public's right to know.
So we didn't savor the opportunity to sue the university like some people might think that we did. We just felt that we were doing what was right.
But the settlement hasn't made getting public records from the university any easier. Thomason says he's been waiting for another record from the university for more than a year.
It's almost not worth it to even pursue it anymore because when I get it, it's not going to tell me anything I didn't already know.
Thomason and his staff aren't the only ones waiting on documents, and some in the media think the delays may represent the culture of the university. Hugh Stevens is an attorney who represents news organizations. He and his clients have sued the university for access to records related to the football academic scandal and other issues. He says UNC has a history of resistance when it comes to disclosing open records.
I've told the university council to her face that they have elevated foot dragging and stonewalling to the level of high art.
University System Communications Vice President Joni Worthington refused to go on camera, but says the university decides which documents to disclose carefully because violation of federal privacy laws could result in a loss of federal funding. Stevens disagrees.
It hasn't happened. It wouldn't happen unless you had a systematic and purposeful violation of the law, and clearly that's not in the cards here.
Dr. Kathy Packer is a UNC professor and the director of the Center for Media Law and Policy. She says other than being ordered to pay attorney's fees, there aren't legal penalties for public institutions which fail to disclose public records.
If there are no penalties for disobeying the law, then why would you obey it?
Thomason says the university's sluggish response to public records requests can interfere with the Daily Tar Heel's mission to inform the university community.
It's a real shame that this university is such a monstrous bureaucracy that is so against really basic attempts to examine its inner workings.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Averi Harper.
Maybe you've had it, norovirus. Lots of vomiting and diarrhea. There's been a recent outbreak on campus. Reporter Averi Harper tells us how to prevent getting infected and what to do if you get it.
UNC junior Caitlin Walsh didn't know what she had, but she knew she was too sick to go to class.
I started feeling not so great Wednesday after dinner.
After Walsh ate at one of the campus dining halls, she said she started feeling nauseous, dizzy, and had severe stomach pain. When she heard she had symptoms of norovirus, she said she was sure she had it, but she'd never heard of it before.
I had to Google it.
Symptoms of norovirus include diarrhea and vomiting. It's highly contagious and spread through contact with those fluids, even from contaminated foods or surfaces. According to the CDC, there are 21 million cases of norovirus a year. Stacy Sept from the Orange County Health Department says cases in densely populated areas like universities are common.
Really, it's not anything to worry about. I mean, it's not pleasant for the people going through it, I will say that.
That's true unless you're a part of a high-risk group. The very young, the elderly, and those with weakened immune systems, like people with HIV or chemotherapy patients. In the U.S., norovirus leads to about 70,000 hospitalizations and 800 deaths every year.
There are no vaccines. There is no antibiotic that will treat it. You really just have to go through it, unfortunately.
If you've contracted the virus, you shouldn't go to work or school because you could give it to somebody else. You should drink plenty of fluids and clean with bleach-based cleaning products.
And what's really tricky is somebody can be contagious up to 3 days after the symptoms have subsided.
If you don't have the virus and you don't want to get it, you should wash your hands thoroughly and often.
The Orange County Health Department says it hasn't pinpointed the source of the outbreak, but says the virus is on the decline. Walsh says after a couple of days, she's fully recovered. In Chapel Hill, I'm Averi Harper.
The Orange County Health Department says it has worked with campus dining services to change cleaning procedures. There have been nearly 100 reported cases of norovirus by Campus Health.
4 students have died in the last year, and we still don't know why, how, or who may be involved. Campus and Chapel Hill cops are only saying that the investigations continue, that release of any information might damage those efforts. Averi Harper reports that's leaving family members in the dark.
Stephen Shannon knows little more about his brother, UNC first-year David Shannon's death than when he first died back in November.
We know how he died, but we don't know why, which is the harder thing.
Police say David Shannon fell to his death after climbing a structure at a cement plant in Carborough. But why he was at the plant in the first place remains a mystery.
David was a great kid, and it sucks that, his life was cut short.
David is one of 4 student deaths that haunts the UNC community. But the details of Faith Hedgepeth, Trevor Dolan, and most recently, Stedman Gage, are unknown to the public.
Usually by this time, something has happened to shed more light on at least the circumstances of the death.
Media attorney Hugh Stevens says the limited information available about the deaths is strange.
And the explanation given is that the investigation is ongoing.
In all 4 cases, the public, and in some cases even the families, have been kept in the dark. And besides initial notifications of student deaths, the university has remained quiet about the deaths of UNC students in the past academic year. Shannon says he's accepted that he may never know why his brother died.
We're not going to forget him. We love him, and he'll always be with us.
Honoring the memory of students who have died has become one of the only ways for families and friends to make sure they're not forgotten. In Chapel Hill, I'm Averi Harper.
University officials and the Chapel Hill Police Department haven't provided further information about the UNC students' deaths.